about how much like time that doctors get to spend with the patients, right, here in the US. But isn't it just like 15 minutes and most of them think that it's not enough? So can we say that or can we modify that answer? Like, I'm not sure.
I mean, I guess coming from India or any other developing country, we literally see like 100 patients in, one day between 9 to 4 on an OPD basis. And I think they kind of know that. And I'm pretty sure they know that India is like the most populated country in the world right now. So I don't know. That's how I feel about it personally. I think it's okay to say that.
Mm.
Like I did my GI rotation, so at that time the doctor used to definitely spend about 30 minutes, and I used to be standing there for the whole time. So I used to feel very, very irritated because I was just observing him, right? So he used to spend like literally 30 minutes per patient, and every day he used to have 20 to 25 patients. Just imagine what good time he used to have over there. He used to start at 8 in the morning till 5 or 6 or 7 he used to work. So they spend time over there. That is what even I have observed, like how much time they spend. Yeah, otherwise, yeah, yes. Okay,
Thank you.
anybody else wants to speak?
Yeah,
Doctor?
hi. May I talk?
Sure, go ahead, please.
Yeah, okay. I agree with the points Dr. Ayushman and Dr. Natasha said. Those are the amount of time a doctor gets to spend with the doctor. And the other aspects of US healthcare I like are the preventive care and patient education. How much they focus on patient education and how much role they give patient to play in the decision making. Patient plays an important role in their own decision making. So that patient centered care is what I like about the US healthcare system. And the EMR, obviously, it's so widely present in the US system, which helps us get to know every single detail of the patient care since the beginning. These are the few points I just thought. Thank you. Yeah, if you want to give feedback.
I want to give one feedback,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
that's okay.
please.
I think all of the points of whatever everyone has said is valid. I think
Okay.
one point which I think all of us can use maybe is work-life balance, which I
Yeah.
think is very helpful in US system, which is not much available in India or any other developing countries. So I think work-life balance is also a good point, is what I think anybody of us can add
Yeah.
into our reasons. So
Yes.
yeah, that's it. Just wanted to add that point.
That's a
Thank
very
you.
good point, Dr. Rajini. Yeah. So even I had this point in my mind, like yeah, the previous doctor talked about, is the importance of the health ethics in the U.S. healthcare system, be it autonomy, be it advanced directives, be it something like be it the privacy of the patient, right? So I just like these aspects of the US healthcare state that even I missed those points. So basically, now what I'll do is when I draft my question, I just list down the points. I won't write my whole answer, but I can just have write down 5 to 7 points so that at least I just come up with 3 points at that time, right? And it will look like kind of spontaneous because I won't practice it before that. Yeah. Yeah, Dr. Rajini, what you told is even that's a very strong point, I feel. But like in the previous meetings we had when we discussed about this question, then somebody over there told that it doesn't look nice when you talk about the work-life balance. To be very honest, that's my reason I want to go to US. But that somebody told that it doesn't look nice. It'll look like you are not very hardworking. You just have to do other things as well. So like that's what they said. So that's why I removed this point from my this why US healthcare system. But yeah, otherwise it's a very good point.
So yeah, Aishman, I think it's a point of perspective, I guess. But I think personally, if you add a work-life balance, I think it's not a big negative because there's a lot of emphasis on resident wellness in many of the programs, because we know they know that residents work, overwork, and there's a lot of importance on mental health as well, when it comes to work and life balance. So that's I think that's one of the reasons why they emphasize on uh, talking about your hobbies, because that kind of gives them an idea of what you do in your free time, or what do you do to, de-stress yourself.
Yeah.
So I think personally it's not a negative thing, but I think I'm open to other people's suggestions about this point.
I also like this point, to be very honest, because everybody will come up with EMR and all the basic things that everybody will come up, right? But yeah, to make our answer different, we can just talk about the work-life balance that the overall US system offers.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So I think I would like to know other people's opinion about this. Um, yeah.
Somebody wants to talk about this? Like, should we include this point?
Hi, this is Mansa. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Mansa.
So actually, I was talking to a resident who's now a fellow. So she's in like the selection committee at her hospital, and she was telling me that programs do stress a lot about resident wellness, but they don't like it if we talk about it because they want to show that they have like a good work environment. It's not toxic and all of those things, but they don't really appreciate it when you talk about it because for you it's like a training, right? And you want to really like show that you're willing to work hard. So maybe like another way to say that you deal with it is like like the previous speaker had said, like talking about your hobbies, or like maybe if you meditate, you can say that you're into those things, like you're into being more present and just taking 5 minutes to take some deep breaths. So like more things like that.
Yeah, but when talking about the US healthcare system, that would be like more in my, I think, tell me about yourself. But when I'm talking about the US healthcare system, yeah, but yeah, work-life balance, I think we should avoid because many people do the same thing, right? It might cause a trouble later on. So otherwise,
Okay. Yeah.
You can all, I mean, I guess you could say it in a more subtle way, saying that training here will also, give me the time to pursue other interests and then maybe mention a few of your hobbies or something like that instead of just blatantly saying like work-life balance is better here.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you, Natasha.
yeah, yeah, we can just modify it. Like we can just say the residency programs are structured in a way that they even keep the residents' mental health, physical health, and the overall health in their mind. That's what I like about the US healthcare system. Like that way, we can just modify it. Yeah. So yeah, Shashwat, I think it's Saraswati who said in the chat box, if we talk about the ethics, wouldn't it look like we in India aren't ethically strong? Somebody wants to talk about this?
Last year there was this friend of mine, she got matched and she was telling me that she was interviewing with this program director who was from Indian Kashmir, and he kept asking her that what are the differences between US healthcare system and India. So she kept on telling ABC, whatever she thought. And then he said that, don't you think this is also about autonomy of the patient, that we respect patient's autonomy more? So if somebody is coming from a desi culture and then they're practicing in US, maybe they want to hear things like that. So it will depend from person to person. Like if you think there is this white Gora person and you say that ethics are being followed here in US, then you're kind of belittling your own culture. But if this is this program director who actually belong to India, Pakistan and Bangladesh, so maybe they want to hear about it. So that's about her experience, because she was telling me that for like 2 or 3 minutes she was emphasizing so many points, but this person, he wanted to hear autonomy. So that's what it is. Sarsavati, you raised a good point, but I think it will vary from person to person, something like that.
Yeah. So, and when somebody is asking about the US healthcare system, I am just saying US follows more ethics. I am not comparing with my home country, right? They might come up with the next question. I can just say that the population I work with, the literacy level, varies from one person to other. Like there are a lot of literate patients, and there are even illiterate patients as well. So over there, we have their autonomy sometimes compromised because the doctor has to take decision for them because they are not
Yes, and
taking decision
you're
for them.
right. And you can say the health literacy instead of literacy. Just say health literacy,
Yeah, health
because
literacy. Yeah.
we observe that in US that they know what is MS, they know what is myasthenia gravis, they know how steroids work. They ask about these things, but here in Pakistan, I didn't see. They're like, Doctor Saab, aapko jo theek lagta hai wahi karo. You know that, right? So things are different over there. So you can say that I can see that people are more literate about their health conditions. Health literacy is better in US. So patient know so many things about their disease and treatment itself, that a doctor is dealing with them on a intelligent way. So something like that, maybe health literacy would be a better.
Yeah, if it comes up with a counter question, I can say, I won't say that India doesn't have, like my country doesn't follow ethics. The thing is, we do have, doctors do study about ethics in the second year in the forensic medicine, but yeah, they are not very well aware right now. But you know, the curriculum is changing over the years, and they are incorporating more and more ethics into our education system, right? But
Yes, and Ayushman, those insurance companies, they are actually suing doctors on the basis of those ethical dilemmas, which we never care here in our own countries, right? If some patient is like, they are like, I said no, so that means no. So actually, you are right. They are more in favor of those things like autonomy, beneficence, and maleficence. So I think we should be mentioning those points. But again, like if
not
somebody is coming
comparing to
from a
your
desi
home country,
culture,
not comparing to your home country, but yeah,
yes.
definitely just we should mention, and we can just answer the counter question. And every point they ask, we can just say our government, our curriculum is trying to improve everything, and they are still working on that as well, right? So in that way, we are not belittling our country as well. We're not showing our country in a bad light.
Yeah, maybe I will avoid that conversation, like going to my curriculum and stuff. I will just say that patients are more aware of their diseases themselves. So doctor is dealing with them. It's easier to tell them and for the patients to give the informed consent. So that's what is being followed in US in comparison to Pakistan. So that's, I think, how I will deal with this thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's how we can talk about. Yeah. So, Indu, like I'll just talk about that question at the end for sure, like what animal I can relate to. But right now we are just going with why US healthcare system. Do you want to come up with the answer?
Yeah, we'll talk in the end. Yeah.
Yeah, Indu, you want to talk about why US healthcare system?
Why US healthcare system is? What did you say?
Like why? If I'm a your program director, I'm interviewing you. I want to ask you like why Indu you want to come to the
US healthcare system, because your voice a little bit breaking last minute.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I am asking you why you want to come to the US healthcare system.
Okay, okay. So before that, can I tell something about, you guys were talking about the ethics, just one line.
First, just go with your answer, and you can talk. Like then after that, first finish your answer.
Okay.
Then you can
So
talk.
why US healthcare system? Different people, move. It's a global movement from one country to another for different reasons. So for me, I have come to US for the family reasons, and when I was already working in New Delhi as a central government employee. So when I came here with my family, I started all from my scratch, all writing all USMLE exams, step 1, 2, 3. I'm done with that, and over this process, I realized that there are many good things about US healthcare system in terms of ethics, in terms of actually, somebody can mute, please. Yeah, in terms of more organized structure and more accessible. And also I realized that in US, since there is a difference of education and levels of both east and west, those countries, India is almost in the east, 12-hour difference, and so here the patients are more aware of themselves about their situation as compared to my country, where most of the patients are ignorant, little illiterate, not fully illiterate. I mean to say illiterate in terms of healthcare. So, but still in India, that's a non-maleficence. That is the obligation of by the physician not to harm the patient, and physicians take the decision if the patient is not able to. But in US, I found that patients are much more smart, and that gives me a good challenge to work here in this system.
Okay, that's a good answer. Like when you talk about literacy, as Hina said, the right term is a health literacy, right? That's a new term that I learned today. I knew about it, but that didn't, strike my mind. So we can just say health literacy is more in US,
Okay.
and in India it varies from person to person. So yeah. Otherwise, it's a
Okay.
good answer, and plus your family point is a very strong point in your answer, right? Because they know that now you have your family in US, so you will stay in US for a very long time.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that. So it's a very strong point. Yeah. And to be very honest, Indu, like what I feel is when you frame the answer, anybody will frame the answer. Just even mention about the background that I did this much sub internship or this much United States clinical experience. In that way, they'll just get to know about like how much US experience you have.
Yeah, the other question, right? Tell me about those things it will cover. I thought, yeah.
No. I am saying just in that also you can just you can just
Okay.
in your answer of that tell me about yourself. But here you can just mention like little bit 1 or 2 lines more in detail that I did this much internship or I did these many observerships where I observed.
Okay.
Right? Like for me, I think that will look more nice. Yeah. Otherwise, your answer is very good. Yeah. You want to say something, Indu? You wanted to say something?
Me, like you want to, okay, let me add something more. So after coming to US, I got an opportunity to go over because some of the clinical rotations in my city. I live in Texas, Austin, and also I have been to New York where I got another opportunities to rotate with other um, great physicians, and in the process, I also met many of my colleagues and friends. So that also further broadened my vision about the country, about the healthcare system, how it is evolving, and that that further increased my interest to pursue my medical career in US. Thank you.
Okay. So anybody else wants to say the question, like uh, like Dr. Brendan? The question is why US healthcare system? Do you want to talk about it, or anybody else wants to go ahead with this question?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I haven't prepared this, but imbibing from all y'all, I have to say. So I would say something in the lines of like,
So, Dr. K. So the thing is, sorry, Dr. SK. So the thing is, you just have to talk like you're talking in the front of the program director, right?
okay,
Just it's a practice session, and whatever you frame today, you can just improve it later on, right? But it means that you have done with this question. In this way, only we'll be able to cover 10 to 15 questions. That's what we need to prepare for our interviews,
sure.
right? Just go ahead. Yeah.
So I believe USA is a land of opportunities, especially for physicians. It has a very diverse culture and very accepting culture for people coming from different parts of the world. And having the experience of working in different settings, whether it's externships or observerships in different states, and having a research experience for more than 1 year, I have witnessed the amount of access that physicians have to state of the art healthcare for each patient. And for example, the thing that really intrigues me is if a patient comes in with heart failure, there are the amount of disciplines involved in just taking care of that patient. He goes through internal medicine, and if there's a problem, there's a heart failure specialist coming in. If the patient needs a pacemaker, there's an EP guy that comes in, and there's a case manager that participates in the patient disposition, that take care of needs that are not necessarily clinical. They address what is his social structure. This kind of practice, I believe, that will make me an extremely well-rounded physician. And secondly, I would say there is a culture of emphasis on evidence-based care. What I mean about this is uh, it is inculcated in training, and it is acceptable that everyone should be actively involved in scholarly activities, such as whether it is presenting a poster or writing publications. I believe this is an important aspect of being a physician, so that we are all updated on the latest guidelines, and so we can continue our medical education, and which in turn improves our patient's life. And also, the last region I would say is like a lot of my family, my sister and cousins live in USA. So they would be a good emotional support for me during this journey. And I can think of these reasons why I chose US as a healthcare option for me.
That's a very, very good answer. You spoke really well if you're speaking it for the first time. Yeah. Even the kind of examples you gave, that makes your answer very good. Just try to now focus on the time limit and everything, but you speak really well. Yeah. Anybody else want to say something?
I had just one opinion on the previous thing. I think it is of my opinion that when this question is asked, like as you said, Ayushman, that we just answer about why we are choosing US healthcare, and if we just go on comparing with our Indian healthcare system, it's like I feel that too much will be said, uh, and we should save some, we should save some ammo for the rest of the questions.
Sorry, I didn't get you. Can you speak again?
So I believe when this question is asked, we should only answer that why we want to come to the US. It is of my opinion,
Yeah.
and we can answer if someone asks us like, what is the difference that you saw working in India, and then because I believe we cannot answer everything everywhere all at once. Cannot happen.
Yeah. And when somebody is asking you about the US healthcare system, why do you talk about my home country, right? Basically the points are going to be the same. Like we talk about preventive medicine is more in US. They say us to compare to your home, we can just say it's not very well structured right now. But yeah, government is bringing up with policies and the health literacy is increasing, right? Then we can say EMR is present in some parts of India, but not everywhere. So it makes like little bit the continuity of care. It reduces that. It makes it a little bit more difficult. But the points are going to be almost same, and we can just prepare it, like we can just jot down the points, and later on we can just say either it's a question why you want to be US healthcare system, and the other thing is what compare between home country and this. The points are going to remain same. But
yeah.
So yeah, somebody just asked right now, if somebody gives you a counter question, I think it's asked by Dr. Just give me a second. It's asked by Dr. It's asked by Dr. Sushil Joshi. How would we defend if they say ask? So you want to practice here because it's easy to make patients understand. So anybody wants to say anything on that?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part. How does it make it easier to make patients understand if we are a part of US healthcare? Good morning. How are you? Good. You look good.
So yeah,
I didn't understand the question. What
the
is he
question
trying
is
to ask?
basically, I think even I just mentioned in my points, or somebody just mentioned in their answer that we like US because of the health literacy is more, and people are more aware about their health, and it's easier to explain them the questions, explain them everything, right? So Dr. Sushil is asking like, if the counter question is, so you want to practice somewhere where it's easier for you to make the patient understand everything.
If I may, this thing, like I would avoid that point entirely because if it was me, I would avoid that point entirely because, like, at least in the US, I mean, like everywhere really, it's if explaining the condition, your like management plan, everything to a patient, the it's expected that that burden falls entirely on you. Like, if they're not understanding, if they don't get it, then that's on you. It's on you to explain it to them further, ask them what part they don't understand, so and so and so. So I would avoid that point entirely, like to say that like people understand it better here. If you're saying it like if you're saying it as if like people in your home country didn't understand it, then that just reflects poorly on you, that you didn't take the time or the effort, or you weren't clear in communicating the knowledge to the patient.
Yes, I completely agree with Lokesh on this.
Yeah, I agree with him as well.
Yeah, but what I was telling was like from a person's experience, like the person got matched in some residency program, maybe Sunny somewhere, or, but he had an interview with some program director, and he kept on asking that person that what do you think that what is not being observed in India as relate and is being observed in US. And a program director wanted to hear autonomy is being observed better in US rather than India. So what's your take on that then? Because autonomy is completely related to like you were not following what patient wanted at that time, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So your
exactly.
answer will be correct. Your answer will be correct to the question, what is the difference between US healthcare system and Indian healthcare system? That's why I asked you on the chat box. So that answer is correct. But when you are asked like why the US healthcare system, then what my friend said will be like correct.
Yeah. So like if you ask me why US healthcare system, I'll just repeat the points again. Like what I feel is number first, I like the preventive healthcare more, the multidisciplinary and the holistic approach. The third one I like is the EMR system. Fourth one, that what I like about the US healthcare system, I would say that a well structured and very well structured teaching and everything in the residency programs. And I have, yeah, my fifth point is the importance of the ethics is more in the US healthcare system. Yeah, for me, these are the 5 points I can talk about during my answer. But I would never say that it's easier to make people understand here because the health literacy is more. I can say that in the only about the health, there's a difference in the health literacy in both the countries, but I would never directly compare my country and try to show that my country in a low light. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else wants to talk about this question? Like why US healthcare system? Then we can shift to the next question after that.
I can try.
Yeah, sure.
Hi,
Go ahead, Shan.
hi,
Yeah.
Ushman.
Hi, Shan.
I think I'm better prepared than yesterday.
Oh, that's perfect. Like if you're done with one question today, that's good.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. So my first contact with American physicians was when I participated in the third Diabetes International Summit, which took place in my city, and there I was fortunate enough to learn about some new concepts in medicine, like metabolic adaptations and PCSK9 inhibitors. And I was really amazed by the research and the advancements that I saw. And I still remember Dr. Claudia Fox had asked me to try for residency. So I started studying for the USMLE exams during my internship. And during that time, I'd completed a telerotation in the hemato-onco department, where I got to interact with the patients in an outpatient setting. And I really loved how every patient was given enough time and to clear their doubts and how everything was explained to them clearly. And now, later during my on-site rotation, I found myself drawn to the interdisciplinary approach and team discussions, and the opportunities for I mean, there are very good opportunities for residency training here, and also witnessing the cutting edge technology. I was like I confirmed my decision to pursue residency here.
It's a good answer. It was very spontaneous and it feels like you haven't prepared for it. Right? It's coming spontaneously. So I think it's a good answer. Yeah. Anybody else wants to say something?
And any suggestions?
Yeah. Just Sean, practice it more and yeah, otherwise it's a good answer.
Okay, about adding or deleting anything from the answer, or it's fine.
How intelligently you mentioned about your research and everything in this answer.
Yeah, maybe the cutting edge point. Otherwise, it was really
Oh
good.
no, even if they ask me about the cutting edge technologies, I have an answer ready for that. Like I have really seen some
Okay.
good things here, so I can talk about that too. That's why I
Because
kept it there, especially.
yeah, anytime when I was trying to get something from ChatGPT related to anything, there was this word cutting edge, and I was like, maybe this is really famous in AI. So
Yeah, it's a AI answer, I know, little bit.
So Sean, we
But
caught you, right?
but I have my answer ready for the cutting edge technology. I mean, the points I have seen a lot of things here, which I've never seen back in India. That's why.
Yeah.
you're right. Your answer was really good. That was just humor, nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
yeah. So now we have Dr. Sushil. Do you want to talk about your point here?
Ayushman, can you repeat your 5 points which you gave?
Again, so just note that down quickly. Like it's actually the common points from everywhere, from all the answers. First, we talked about multidisciplinary and the holistic approach. Second one is the EMR system. Third one is the importance of the preventive healthcare system is more in US. The age appropriate screening. Fourth point we talked about is the importance of the ethics in the US healthcare system, right? Be it autonomy, be it advanced directives, be it even the privacy of the patient. It's very important in the US healthcare system. Then fifth one is that's what I added is that I like the didactics and the teaching structure of most of the residency programs. So it adds to my capacity to treat my patients well. Yeah.
Ayushman, are you reading from somewhere of these 5 points? Like I didn't see on the chat.
No. Sorry.
I was looking at the chat. Are they, have you put them on chat or are you like
No, basically I'm saying now what I have done is I have these 5 points in my mind. I just note down these points in the copy and then I'll frame my answer accordingly. Like I won't just my answer.
Yeah, could you please repeat?
I'll just write in the group later on, right? After this, I'll write it.
Repeating is quickly in 10 seconds.
Okay, just say EMR, importance of the ethics in US healthcare system. Third point is the well-structured teaching, very well teaching structure and didactics, be it afternoon rounds, be it afternoon case reports, grand rounds, or after round discussions and everything. Then these are 3 points. Fourth point is the importance of the ethics in the US healthcare system, multidisciplinary and the holistic approach that we follow in US, and importance of the preventive health.
All right.
Okay, so now should we move on to the next person with the answer why US healthcare system? We have 74 people with us right now. Dr. Sushil, you want to talk about something? We would love to hear you. Okay, that's perfect. Right. So anybody else wants to talk about this question or we should move to the next question?
Yeah, I can go.
Okay, go ahead, Dr. Fawzi. Nice.
Okay, so why the US healthcare system? Since during my wait, let's see. So since I grew up and after I entered medicine, my parents always encouraged me to pursue and be a resident in the US healthcare system, as my parents told me that you have to go where there's good research, you have to go where there's good clinical practice. And then after, when I came here and started my physician assistant position, I found out that there's more to it. I found that there's good physician-patient communication, and the way we treat patients here is more advanced and more not ethical. Yeah, more advanced than back in my home country. Although my home country is still growing. Yeah. No.
So Dr. Fawzi, the question is why US healthcare system? Asking you to compare it to your country. Your points like why US healthcare system?
Mm-hmm. So I answered why I chose the US healthcare system because my parents always encouraged me to go there because there's advanced science, advanced research, better patient care, and better training, and that's why I chose to come here. And when I came here, I found that when I got involved in patient care, I found that their point of view was correct, and I hope that I be part of the system and gain more clinical experience in this patient care.
Yeah. Okay. That otherwise, yeah, it's a good answer.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So I just have even one more point because I tried, drafting my question. So I just left many points. Now I have to work on my strategy to answer questions. So one more point that I have is that in US, the care after the discharge, is very, very good. Like, be it in the form of people have an option, they have an option to go for a home-based care as well. They have option to go for assisted living facilities or nursing homes, right? So, and other point that I like about the US is the transfer of the care from one center to the other center is very well structured, and it's kind of more strong.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning this point, I think one or two meetings ago, and I really, really liked it because I think that this is one significant strength. Like, everything else, it's like sort of like, there are similarities, but like this one, I think it's like very robust. Like in the sense, like in the US, like the what do you call it? The framework, like you said, for like care after like a hospital like discharge. Like I think it's like very good. I
Even
would really use this point.
even
100%.
the transfer of care from one center to the other center is very strong in India as well. But yeah, I feel it's very good in US. Like they have the proper, yeah, the proper machines and proper ambulances equipped with all the required things. So I think it's more stronger over there. So I can just mention the point that that's what I like about US more. Yeah. Anybody else wants to go with this question, or should we go to the next one? Like which?
I just had like one point like that. I was like, I had in my mind. One thing that I wanted to mention like was that the organizational structure of a hospital, emphasizes a lot on accountability and that it kind of like fights against that like traditional hierarchical system, and like it allows, like say like if a superior like commits a mistake, I feel like the US system gives you an avenue to bring up any grievances without like fear of like pushback or like that kind of stuff. So like the environment that it gives you allows you to put in your best work,
Yeah.
like for you to like work in like a mentally safe, and like comfortable way.
That's very true. That's why most of us are going over there. And we're working.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the work-life balance, money they offer, and these things, like it's a more open society, and yeah, and nobody
Oh
gives
yeah,
a
absolutely. Like
and
America,
nobody
you
gives a
can
damn
also talk
about
about
anybody
America
over
as
there.
like a country, like, diverse and like freedom and all of that.
Yeah.
That's actually like a decent point. You can do that.
Yeah, I can frame that in my answer. Okay, anybody wants to talk about the question again, like why US healthcare system, or should we move to the strengths and the weaknesses? Dr. Kumar, you want
Okay.
to? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to try. So yeah, why US healthcare system? So actually, since the start of my medical school, I was always listening from my seniors who are practicing in the US that US has the best healthcare system, and all the books that I used to study med school were mostly from the US authors. So this was basically generating the curiosity in me to like go for the US initially. When I started preparing for my steps and going through the Q banks, it was actually a second step in my journey that was basically solving the questions was giving me the sense that wow, this is something really amazing. And then when I came to the US and did my first observership at a hospital, it was a community hospital, and I was actually fascinated by all over it. I mean, it was like a dream come true moment. Whatever I was thinking during the med school, it was actually happening. Like as if a patient with heart failure comes in the hospital, so multidisciplinary approach, like you involve cardiac. If the patient is severe, you involve ICU. If the patient has pulmonary edema, you involve pulmonary. So multidisciplinary approach along with like the role of case manager, the insurance system, everything is so organized and so amazing that actually it like feels it like kind of gives me a high that I should be part of this. I should contribute myself and I should learn so much from it. So this is the basic thing for me to choose US. Thank you.
I have a point. I agree with all the points, but don't you think the insurance system here in this country somehow, somehow is a kind of slows down the process? Sometimes when I was in rotation, I heard, "Oh, doctor, this my insurance may not pay for this." So insurance. What do you think, guys, about this insurance thing? Is it the good point about
So
this country?
am I allowed to like put my opinion?
Yeah, sure, go
Of
ahead.
course.
It's a
Yeah, sure. The best thing about this system is whenever a patient comes in emergency, you don't see the insurance. You have to stabilize the patient anyhow, no matter if he has any insurance or not. This is the first point. This is the first thing, which is something really amazing. And then even if there is a conflict between like medications or something like related to management plan and the insurance like not allowing that thing, then case manager is there until unless the problem is solved. Case manager will not leave the case. So this is the second best thing. I mean, there is a systematic way or systematic approach for everything here. So that's an amazing thing.
Also, you can speak about safety net hospitals that US has.
Yes,
So there are
yes,
certain hospitals
that's an
that poor people can go to. Like that will also tell that you kind of know the system. So that's a
yes,
good point.
Yeah, so yeah,
yes.
exactly. Our answer should be like we have worked in the US and we know about it, right? Like we
Mhm.
haven't done for the sake of doing rotations, we just rotated at places. We just have to show them that we have seen, observed these things during our venture as during the United States clinical experience. Yeah. So Dr. Samyukta just wrote, can we avoid the ethics part? They might say the onus is on us to practice ethics.
Yes, I wrote that.
Yeah, just
Because I was just going back and forth in my mind when all of you were talking about the points, and I think they would say that, well, it is you who has to practice the four ethical principles. It is we who, as doctors, have to practice. We can't say that it is better in one country than the other, right? Are we saying that we do a better job in one country versus another country? No, we are what we are, no matter where we go.
But Dr. Samyukta, I don't think no one ever compared this to their home country. The thing is, we just like it's more in US.
Did you ask them?
Like it's
Right.
more in US. Like we're just saying that it's more practice in US. And when they come up and say like why in your home country ethics are not followed, we can say yes, a lot of things are not because of the health literacy varies over there. Sometimes doctors do have to take decisions for the patients, right? And during our curriculum, like that's what I would say that during my curriculum, ethics is taught to us in here, but people are not very well aware of that. But as the time, with the time, the health literacy is improving, and ethics are coming up into our practice as well.
Okay.
Like I would say that way, right? But otherwise, if you have other points, then you can easily avoid that as well. But what I like about US is the advanced directives. I've never heard about that in India.
Dr.
Perfect.
Gupta, sorry to interrupt. So your opinion about my answer, what would you add or?
Okay. For me, your answer is very good. Like, it's very personalized thing that you talked about your observership. You talked about, you are passionate about going to US. That's what even I have a passion. Like, I would say since age of 7, I wanted to become a doctor and go to US. It's very clear,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Like for me, it's
mhm,
two countries only. Either it's my home city, hometown, or it's United States. There's nothing in between.
mhm.
Right, so that's what I liked about your answer, that you talked about these things, that it was my dream, and when I went there, everything went with whatever I had heard, and I liked this about this system. Instead of talking like I am talking about the EMR system and this and that, everybody is going to answer the same at the end of the day. But yeah, whatever you mentioned makes your answer unique for me. Anybody else wants
And
to add?
how he was giving examples, like we all were saying the multidisciplinary thing, but he was giving the example like sometimes you refer them to cardiology, and if somebody needs the chest thing, that pulmonology. So your answer was really good. I liked it.
It's just glorified team for
Thank
teaching.
you. I appreciate it.
I hope you got what didactics are. It's basically a teaching session, right? Like we have Sifarish in India and references in US. The things are the same at the end of the day. The same is the didactics and the teaching.
Okay, you mean to say the teaching system?
Yeah, the overall didactic means, yeah, when you discuss about teach about some topic or something, it's like that.
Okay.
So they have glorified, like somebody told me that they have glorified thing about, they glorify everything. So they have different terms for these things. So yeah, didactic needs to see. But yeah, even the when I talk about the teaching structures, I talk about the grand rounds, I talk about the afternoon case reports, afternoon reports, I talk about the post round discussions that we have and the didactic sessions we have. Yeah. So anybody else wants to talk about this answer, or we should move to the next? I think we have already into, I think, 15 minutes plus into the same question. So we should move to the next one. Can we also talk about primary health well established? Should we go about the strengths and the weaknesses? Anybody wants to talk about the strengths and the weaknesses? Ishan, can we start with you? Why? Just go ahead, buddy. You speak really well.
I have very little strength and I have no weaknesses, so I have to prepare an answer for that.
Right, you're superhuman. Okay, so I'll just start with it since nobody wants to talk, so I have to carry forward the conversation. I will talk about my strengths and the weaknesses. That's what I prepared, so I don't shy in speaking about my strengths and the weaknesses. So, uh, after introspecting myself, the few strengths that I feel in me is firstly the adaptability and the efficiency. Coming from my home country healthcare system has taught me a lot about adaptability and the efficiency. Because it made me work in the circumstances with a meager resources, a lot of patience, long duty hours. So that made me very adaptive to that made me very efficient, and I have worked across the different healthcare settings, so that made me very adaptable. Plus, I feel that because of this adaptability, I was able to move from once I was able to shift every 30 days in US to 4 different places in 4.5 months. So, talking about my second strength, I feel that I never shy asking for the help because I know that I am not a superhuman and I don't know everything. So I don't mind asking for the help from people, and I even like people. Even I like helping people a lot because I feel when I ask somebody for the help, they help me, and it feels really good. So why not to help others as well? The third strength that I feel is that I have a strong willpower, and that's what my friends say to me, and my family and friends say to me that I am a very strong-willed person. Because talking about my USMLE journey, I am into this journey for 3 years now. For a few years now, I have been giving my step exams. I have been working. I have been doing research projects. I have been doing a lot of voluntary work. So yeah, so I just feel that I have a lot of willpower as well because I want to reach my end goal. Talking about my weaknesses, the first weakness that I recognize is that I am over generous and a people pleaser. I want to be in everybody's good books, which I feel is not a weakness, but yeah, definitely I feel that it affects my physical and mental health at the end of the day, and whatever, and it reduces my concentration while doing any work. The second weakness that I feel I have, so I'm working on that, and I'm learning the art of saying no to people, right? And the second weakness that I have is that I crib a lot under stress. So I'm working on that. So what I do is I'm working on that, and what I do is that whenever I'm in such a situation and I'm cribbing about it, so I just analyze that situation, and first thing that I analyze is whether I am giving my 100% to that to the work I'm doing or not. If I am not if I'm not giving my 100%, then definitely I'm going to increase my input. Or if I'm giving my a lot of input but I'm not liking the certain things, so I give myself some time, maybe a week time or 10 days, and I think it works for me in a very good way. Yeah, so that are my strengths and weaknesses.
What
Yeah.
was the second weakness?
Yeah, so any feedback on that?
Ayushman, your strengths were very well answered. One additional strength, which I believe is common to all of us who are on this meeting now, is that we are all receptive to positive criticism.
Yeah. I know, I know. I have even that, but that's what I am saying. My problem is I have to jot down the stuff. I have need to have points in my mind so that I don't fall short of anything during when I speak. Yeah, even I have that. I am very responsive to the positive criticism.
Yes. So that is one thing. Maybe weaknesses was one part you can make it a little more structured. And also, when you're speaking about weakness, avoid saying this is not a weakness. You're contradicting yourself.
Okay. I would structure that well. Yeah, because I think I'm going my weakness. I had few points. First is the over generous. I'm over generous, or I would say I'm extravagantly over generous. And the second one, my weakness is I'm a people pleaser. Third thing is I crib a lot. Like I procrastinate many times. So and the fourth, like I even have 2 or 3 more weaknesses that I kept in my mind. But yeah, I couldn't speak that during this because it skipped my mind. I have to just jot
And
down the points.
Ayushman, I was thinking that maybe you can mention that you have leadership qualities, because you can say that when I was preparing for my interviews, I created a WhatsApp group and I was able to communicate with people. And then somehow this group had this amount of number, and then we were communicating with each other every day, and we helped each other. And I think I can manage people, something like that, because you have a
Yeah,
very good example related to that thing.
yeah.
And I have heard that programs like this, when you mention about your Instagramming or something like that, that you are famous among your peers, something like that. So
I
maybe
don't
you
know.
should mention that.
Uh, yeah, I am not famous, but yeah, I can boast about that.
I'm
Nobody
not saying you
crossed
should
it.
be humble always, and I'm not saying that you are like Tom Cruise or somebody, but still you created a group, and like there are members in this group, and everybody is getting something from this group advantage, something like that. So that's what you
Yeah, I
can
can
mention,
definitely,
maybe.
I can just say I like taking the leader roles. Instead of saying I have the leadership qualities, I can just say
Yeah,
it'll look more humble that I like taking the leader roles.
sure.
I was a state coordinator for MSCI Jammu and Kashmir. I run an Instagram page where I talk to a lot of fellow IMGs. That even I
Yes.
I admin the WhatsApp group with nearly 1,500 people because we have two groups, and
Yeah.
I used to conduct sessions every day, and it helped out, and I used to try to help me and everybody out there.
Yeah, because you can say that as IMGs, we all struggle with language barriers and cultural barriers, and everybody was feeling that there should be some platform where they could all sit and talk about their strengths and weaknesses and stuff they were feeling. So maybe that's a good point.
I would just say that that was a free platform that I tried to create, and I think it benefited everyone.
Yes, you're right.
So Hina, you want to answer?
Perfect.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I need to work on my answers. I just come to this group for half an hour, and then for the whole day I procrastinate and I sleep and watch seasons. I don't know what I'm doing.
That
But
happens
in
to
a
me
day or
as well.
two, I will come up with my answers, and then I will join this session effectively, I think.
Okay. So anybody else wants to talk about the
So,
strength and weakness?
I,
Yeah,
so
yeah, Ayushman.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, I just had like one this thing. Ayushman, like I like all of your answers. I maybe would avoid like the over generous point because I feel like it could come off as like sort of like slightly humble bragging, like I'm like too generous. Like even the people pleaser thing, like I just feel like, maybe like if you'd explain it a little bit better, then I think like it could work. Like the people pleaser thing, I think you can say something like, people pleaser, and then you say something like, it might causes me sometimes to, not speak up because like I don't want to like I don't want to go against someone, you know like contradict someone. Like I think that would be like a good point. Like the over generous thing, it just kind of feels like one of those like these things. So
I'm bragging. It looks
might
like as if
avoid
I'm
that.
bragging among myself.
yeah,
Yeah,
I also second that point. I think people pleaser is would come in the weakness, but over generous is something kind of strength rather than weakness. So
Okay.
it's good that
I have more
people
time.
pleaser.
I'll just have to find more weaknesses and I'll work on it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay.
Hey,
But
and
Ayushman.
otherwise, your answer was great.
yeah, and
Hi,
just one
Ayushman.
more thing. You can take it however you please, but I think saying that you crib, I guess that's not the right term, because the whole point of residency interviews is they say that they want someone who they feel like they can work with, even in the middle of the night, in the middle of a crisis. So maybe worded better, saying you get
Exactly.
overwhelmed or you get like stressed, or I don't know, something like that. Because cribbing, you don't want a colleague who's gonna crib in a high stress situation.
Right. I'll find a better word for that.
Yeah. And like what I would say generally, like for the weaknesses, right? Like you say a weakness and then give like a small example. Like I said, right, for the people pleaser thing, immediately followed up by saying it causes me to like not speak up because I don't want to go against someone. Because when you say weaknesses, people's minds sometimes will like start to like run to the like extremes, right? Like if you say like for example like the cribbing thing, like people might think like dude, this dude is going to come and all he's going to do is sit and complain about stuff. Like you don't want to give them that image, so you give a small example to put their expectations like where you want them to be.
Yeah, I'd work
So
on
just like a little like wording stuff, but otherwise like everything else is good. Your
I have
sense
to search
perfect.
about the weaknesses and the, I have to just search about
Yeah.
the to get a good
And
idea.
like to add to what like the other people said, again I would heavily lean into like you organizing this meeting to begin with, like organizing these meetings and like leading them. I would like lean into that 100%.
Ayushman, you said something about affecting your mental health during one of your weaknesses, right? So I think
I just said like I think the only point is that when I'm over generous and I am a people pleaser, so the thing is I cannot give my 100% to the task.
yeah, but I mean you should avoid saying mental health because I think they don't want a resident who will break down during the residency training.
I'll just I'll just work on that. So
Yeah, you can say just overstressed or something like that.
so if anybody is from Jammu and Kashmir, please you can just get in touch with me. I love to know people from my state, so we can just sorry. So yeah, we can just go ahead. Ishan, you want to answer? Anybody wants to answer about the strength and the weaknesses? Or anybody wants to tell Indu, you want to talk about strength and weakness?
Oh, okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Actually, okay. So, I'm just giving you my some little background. So over this USMLE journey during step 1, step 2, step 3, I have been studying with friends over the Skype, and I have let's mute them. So yeah, as I have created like step 1, 2, 3 groups, and they still exist, and more than 500 people in each group. So okay, so with that background, my Skype name is different, so people may not relate that it's me. So okay, what I can say is I think I have leadership quality. I create and assemble people, help each other throughout. I have helped throughout this journey. So I like taking responsibilities and the leadership roles. So that means to give and take help, and that helped my friends and colleagues throughout this journey. And this help was all free of cost, which helped different people from different countries, ethnic backgrounds, and from different time zones. And this is how we doctors don't. We doctors have diverse roles, not only preparing for the boards, but also helping each other, and that that makes. Actually, I'm not really prepared, Ayushman, but this was like one of the things I know about me, that leadership qualities, and I'm receptive to constructive criticism, as most of us have this quality. And I'm quite resilient and hardworking person. I do not give up easily, and USMLE is that kind of marathon journey, right, which needs a lot of resilience to bounce back, to fight back. All right, done. I'll talk later more about it. Can't hear you.
It was a good answer, right? You just need to structure it well. That's good qualities you have. You have leadership qualities because the way you speak here and give your opinions. So it's not only about me who is organizing this meet and I'm just sending a link, right? But you people participating and speaking, actually, you have the leadership qualities. So it's not only me who is having the leadership qualities. So you also who are speaking here. You see that's why the meeting is running, right? Otherwise, it's very hard. Like I cannot continue for 1 to 1.5 hours. It's because of you people. You discuss, you give your opinion. So that's why our meetings are running.
Ayushman, I think you can add like being humble as like one of your strengths.
Me being humble.
Yeah, you're being like humble, like like giving, like saying that everyone's a leader here, right?
He said over
Like,
generous
yeah,
as
Yeah,
being
well.
humble.
Yeah, he said over
yeah,
Yeah,
generous
you're
as
humble
well,
attitude.
right? What else you want?
So overgenerous is his actual weakness.
yeah.
I just like.
It's a subjective feeling.
I just like
Yeah,
people.
I
Whether
can
we
see
are,
that.
No, I just
yeah.
feel that overgenerous is a weakness for me because I like people, those who have a art of saying no to somebody's face. Right? I cannot just keep on pleasing everyone.
Guys, one more thing. It's a subjective feeling. What we
Yes,
think about
indeed,
self,
you're
what
right.
others think about me, and what is the hidden point. What's the reality? The three aspects of a personality.
Yeah.
So yeah, anybody wants else to talk about their strengths or something?
Yeah, so I can discuss my strengths as
Sure, go
well.
ahead. And weaknesses also, like you can even talk about that.
Okay, so I don't have a particular weakness. I have weaknesses, but I'm not able to describe them for now. But I'll just briefly discuss the strengths.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
So yeah, so my basic strengths are basically resilience and adaptability. So there's a big background behind it. I want to just briefly discuss it with you. Like um, as I told you earlier, that since my school, this was my dream to do USMLE and to do my postgraduate residency training in the US. But belonging to a financially modest family background, it was always hard for me. The question of all the expenses was always poking in my head, and after I graduated, it was like, okay, I need to do it. And it has taken me like 3 years when working for it. It was not because of the exams, but because of the expenses that I had to bear for it. And I was like working for everything, but it was always in my mind that I will just do it. I don't know how, but I will just make it. And when I look back at my 3 years, I feel surprised and I feel proud that way my journey has progressed for the last 3 years. And I can only observe myself that it was always adaptability and resilience. I was able to go to any extent to just do it, to just make it. So, yeah, adaptability and resilience are my biggest strengths as of now. I can observe myself.
That's a very good example you talked about. Yeah, just try to have more strengths in your mind, though you won't be
Mm-hmm.
speaking everything out there, but at least have they
Mm-hmm.
will ask you, tell me about your 5 strengths or 3 strengths,
Okay.
right? So
Yeah. So I.
you need to have like, even I missed one of my strengths that I have prepared in my answer
Mm-hmm.
is that I am very inquisitive and I want to try
Mm-hmm.
exploring new food, new places, new cultures, and I'm very talkative and I just love interacting with people. And I think
But
that adds to
Ayushman, I had a question that all these comes in strengths or these are qualities. I mean, there's a difference between qualities and strengths. No, I
But I
mean you have
think
strengths,
it's
but
not that very big
strengths
thing.
are. I mean,
For
like.
me, it's my quality. That's my strength because I feel that adds to my knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I talk to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
As you mentioned, that it took you 3 years. Same happened with me. It's because me, I
Mm-hmm.
talk to everybody, whosoever I meet, right? I can talk
Mm-hmm.
for hours and hours to them, and I gain some knowledge from them, right?
Okay.
And
So. Uh,
that adds that I think is my strength, and that's how I learn new things. Like be
okay.
going to Dearborn, like there were Arab population over there. I love talking to them and knowing about their culture,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
so I feel that
So I was basically confused about it. Thanks for clearing. So I was like, there are qualities, there are strengths. So strengths are basically those qualities in you which push you at difficult times. Like when you are into the difficult zone of life, you need those strengths or those qualities in you that push you out of that difficult phase. So I thought those are the strengths, but yeah, thanks for correcting me, and
No, no,
I
that's
really
fine.
appreciate
I'll work on my answer. Even I didn't thought that way. I'll work on my answer for sure. Thank you
it.
so much for letting know. I'll you have to differentiate between my qualities and my strengths. Yeah.
So,
So
thank you.
anybody else wants to come up with their strengths and weaknesses?
So I actually have a feedback for Dr. Munish. So the point what he said about the resilience and adaptability, it is actually very good point. But I would say suggest, this is my opinion. I would suggest it will look, if you start my strength is resilience and adaptability in the as a first line, I think it would look like you have prepared it already, and the whole talk of not to look prepared, there's a lot of talk around it. So I would say why don't you like try talk about your story, and then say through this I realized that being resilient and adaptability has kept me going through this journey of USMLE or something like that. This is one my opinion about your point. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for adding this answer. Actually, I also felt the same. I totally agree with you that I should like put the story in front, and then I should say that okay, these are my basic strengths. So yeah, I totally agree. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I liked everybody's answers so far. Can we please replace the term inquisitiveness with curiosity?
That's even only I talked about that, so I just replace it with the curiosity. Thank you.
And can I talk about my weaknesses, please?
Of course, go ahead. We need some, we need to hear about good weaknesses. Yeah.
Okay. My first weakness is delegation of work. I've done a residency in OBGYN, which is what trained me about the art of delegating works, because my residency involved a lot of teamwork in a lot of case scenarios, like, for example, postpartum hemorrhage. And that's when I learned the art of delegating work and not just doing everything on my own. That's my first weakness, which I'm still working on to perfecting. My second weakness was slow at learning. I'm more than learning, I would say slow at reading books. I encountered this just a couple of years ago when I got back to USMLE after being into active OBGYN practice for 5 years. This came across as a challenge because it is only now that I'm getting back to books and some kind of hardcore reading as a part of preparation for USMLE. The way I addressed my slow learning and slow reading was by one, by practicing reading on a daily basis. Two, I also took up a course by a person called Jim Quick. Yeah, he does have the word quick in his name. But that's his real name, is Jim Quick. And through his course, I learned the art of speed reading, which helped me a lot in my preparation for the remaining steps of USMLE. My third weakness is, what was my third weakness? I'm not able to recall now, guys. I'm sorry. There's one more point which I would like to say is I have been discovering weaknesses throughout my life, on and off. And as and when I find a weakness, I work on it. I can't say that so and so were my weaknesses and I'm completely done with it. I still have a few weaknesses and I work on it and I try to make myself better each day. This would be my answer.
That's a good answer. So even it just clicked my mind. I start my weaknesses with this point, that all my strengths were my weakness at one point of time, but I worked on them. Then I start with, apart from this, I feel my other weaknesses are. Yeah. Otherwise, Dr. Samyukta, I just liked your point. You speak really well, and your weaknesses were very nice.
Thank you, Ayushman. Yeah, that's, we keep learning every day.
So I have a suggestion for Dr. Samyukta. I really liked her first point of delegation of work, which I think is a very valid point. But I think you didn't as far as I remember, you didn't mention any steps that you have taken to in the process of correcting it. I think you did that for your I think reading books, but you didn't mention anything for the delegation of work, which I think you should add, because that kind of shows that you are making steps along that uh, line. So that's one thing I like. I really like your first point, which I think is really good. Yeah.
Hi, Ranjini. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm sorry for the vacuum in the background. Yes, the way I was able to address my weakness on lack of delegation powers was by just doing a residency. So when I was doing residency in OBGYN, that is it's not something which I worked on, but things happened in such a way that I was forced to learn the art of delegating work. That was my explanation to how I indirectly worked on the art of delegating, delegating and sharing work.
Yeah,
Thank
okay. Yeah. Which I think rather than saying you forced or the during residency forced you to do this, you can, I think, in my opinion, what you can try doing is say is when it was during your residency time, I realized how important it is to delegate the work among my colleagues for the efficient care of my patient. And I started taking those steps very actively in my residency training. And I'm still working on that aspect. Something along that line. Rephrase it such that it looks you're still working on it, and at the same time you recognized that there was a problem there.
Okay, now I get it. So you're saying that I put it as a weakness, and then I say that I started working on it when I was doing my residency, and I still continue to work on it to make it better. Would that be
Yes.
fine?
Yes, I think you need to actively put it out there that you're taking steps, because that kind of shows that you recognized a problem and you are taking steps to, correct it or learning from it. So it indirectly shows you're a learner too. So
Right, that's right. I'll do that, Ranjini. Yes, thank you so much.
yeah, thank you. This is my opinion. If anybody else has any opinion, can share
Yeah.
that too. I think.
Just to like help her with the same this thing, I do agree that like it could be phrased a little bit better. The thing is with your speed reading thing, like you had like a very clear like what you're doing, right? And like there are certain like weaknesses where you can only say that like I'm working on it, right? Like talking to people or something like that, like you can say only say you're working on it. So at that point I feel like it'd be better if you outlined a couple of things, very like you specify a couple of things. Like for example, like for your the delegation thing, I would say something like I started practicing like creating like a workflow chart, and then like I learned how to communicate uh, uh, clearly with the other members of my team, and like clearly outlining their responsibilities to create a smoother workflow. Like specifically saying 1 2 things that you did to improve. I think that would like show that like that you're not just like putting it out there, that you actually done something. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Oh, yes, yes, Lokesh. It does. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what steps exactly did I take? That was one point what you asked for, and the other point is when I say that speed reading is my weakness, I should be more specific as to how it was my weakness. Did I get it right?
No, no. That the thing is, the speed reading already had a specific thing. Like you said that you were reading more books, and then you were, taking classes from Mr. Jim
Yeah,
Quick.
Jim
Yeah,
Quick.
so
Yeah.
that is good. So the other one, you can't like specifically say you're going to take classes to learn how to delegate or something like that, right?
Right.
So
Right.
in those instances, I'm saying it's better to put out like 1 2 specifics. So it doesn't feel like you're just throwing it out there. Like this is
Okay.
my weakness, I'm working on it. Like it makes the answer seem a bit more serious and legitimate. You know?
Okay. So probably you're talking about some kind of a flow to it,
Yeah,
adding a flow to
exactly.
it.
Like the
Yeah.
thing is,
Okay.
yeah, you're just
Right.
like specifying what you did to, help
Right.
like to overcome this weakness of delegation. You learn how to
Yes.
like, clearly plot out like, what needs to be done. and then you communicated with the person, like with that member of the team clearly, you need to do this, you need to do this, so that you improved on that communication and, like, the flow, like, like organization, so that, like,
Yes,
it ended up creating like a smoother workflow with like less confusion, less errors and stuff like that.
got it.
You can
Yes,
obviously
yes, because
shorten it, but, like, again, just a little bit specifics is what I'm trying to say.
perfect. I'll do that. Yes, thank you, Lokesh.
You're most welcome.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Ayushman. I want to discuss one of my weakness.
Okay, just a second. Okay, I should go ahead and Dr. Brendan will say after this. Yeah, please.
Okay. So in the past, I used to struggle with multitasking, which sometimes has led me to taking too many tasks at a particular point of time and not completing them effectively. And however, I recognize that the weakness that and have taken steps to address it. And I have since learned that the importance of prioritizing the task and creating a structured schedule and focusing on one task at particular point of time to enhance my productivity and time. Can you please mute? Yeah. So I learned from that I had to, I learned that the importance of prioritizing the task and creating a structured schedule and to focus on one task at one point of time to enhance my productivity and efficiency. For example, in past, I realized that I cannot be in multiple places at particular point of time. So I had to focus on improving my time management and prioritization skills, and I learned that the importance of completing one task effectively before moving on to the next. That ensured me, to do each task the attention it deserves. So, can I consider this as my weakness?
You just took my weakness away. I even had this in my mind, and I didn't speak it today about my weakness. But yeah, it's a multitasking area, and how you worked on it. That's a very, very good point. Yeah, even I thought about that I need to introspect and upon myself that what tasks are important for me and what I can do later on so that I can give my 100% to all the tasks.
Yeah, that's always happened with me, and I end up learning this thing that I cannot be at 100 positions at one point of time. So I had to prioritize and schedule them accordingly. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point for me. Yeah, anybody else wants to add something?
Multitasking is a great point, guys. Yes, I'm bad at it too. I'm very bad at that. But what do we say as to how we work on it?
Like for me,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, no. Again, I would say, like, if I had to mention it, I would go along the same route as I was telling with Samyukta about delegation. Again, like slightly small specifics, I think would help. Like, for example, like, one thing, like, you can say you figured out is like, okay, I learned to, like, send lab tests first before writing my notes, so that, like, the lab can work on, the investigations while, like, I this thing. So, efficiency management, stuff like that. It's a small example, but, like, I hope you get what I'm going for. Small things.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. Yeah, even we can say that we try to note down the things now, right? So that we don't miss on anything. We just try to jot down the stuff on a piece of paper or something so that we're done with everything and we don't miss out on something, and that adds to our efficiency. That's a very good point. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, again, that's the thing they want to see, right? Like, they don't want just like blanket statements, like, I'm working on it. Adding these small specifics, like, again, it just gives it, like, it's honest. Like, it gives, like, legitimacy to your answer.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
That is
even I have a suggestion. I think what both of you have said is correct. Maybe you can say, like, you have started using a priority list, so that as you go doing one task at a time, you tick, you put a tick, and that's how you get things done in a day. Something like that. We all have that to-do list, right? So you can say to-do priority list. I've been started to use it, so that kind of has improved my efficiency and doing things more efficiently, something like that.
Yeah, like I will start using Apple Notes from now on my iPhone. So I'll just start using that. That's a good idea. Like I'm very bad at multitasking, so I have to just figure out a way for me as well. I'll do that. Yeah, Dr. Brendan, you wanted to say something? Please go ahead. Do we have Dr. Brendan? Okay, I think he left the meeting. So anybody else wants to talk about their strengths and weaknesses?
Yes,
Well,
I want to talk about.
Go ahead,
go
Dr.
ahead.
Um, as I have been from different places and I have traveled a lot in different places, I quickly learned new things and adapt to the diverse cultures by exploring the city and making new friends. That makes me an easygoing person. I am always receptive to new experiences and criticism, and I am willing to put effort to be successful in whatever is the situation. That make me an adaptable person in diverse cultural diverse culture and diverse in different situations. And my other strength that I feel is my strength is that I'm very patient while listening to other persons. When they come up with some problems, I provide support and make them feel heard and validated. I always come up with a plan to help them in a best possible way. So that's what I think is my strengths. Coming to my weaknesses, my biggest weakness is that I cannot say no to anyone. And this is the thing that makes me overburdened and burnt out sometimes. Right now, I'm still working on it by prioritizing my time and commitments and focus on the things which truly matters. Other than that, I think that the weakness that I have is that I was too hard on myself during my studies. That I feel that I was too much focused, gaining grades and academic excellence. Although it helped me, but at the end of the day, it made me very stressed and anxious. I haven't have any time for my family, for the social life. Over time, I realized that this is not a good thing to, and that is not a good thing to keep it to go with it, so that I create a balance between my academics and self care, and I start taking care of myself, spending time with friends and family, and that what I realized that it helped me to perform even better in academics as well. So that's all for being from my part. Any feedbacks, please?
So as when you talked about your strengths, you told that your friends look up to you for all the help and everything. You could just come up with a little bit of example. Like you could just say directly, my friends look up for me for the help. Or I just come up with I make plans for everybody. I do the budgeting and everything. So I'm even good at that as well. So I'm good at organizing new things.
Okay, I actually have example in my mind, but I didn't mention that one as I thought that it will become too long. So it means that I should give an example and then I will relate it with it.
Like what I saw in the webinar is 90 to 3:1 rule. 90 means 90 seconds. The answer should be for 90 seconds. You should talk about 3 points, and at least you should give example for once. At least one point you should, you should add with an example, right? Because you cannot, keep on going and giving examples for every point. But yeah, make sure that you have an example for every point.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Anybody else wants to add something or?
I'm sorry, like this thing in the middle, like what were the strengths that you mentioned? Like quickly, one was I think cultural sensitivity, right? Like you've been to a lot of places, so you can handle culture. Like you can like interact with people from this thing. And then what is the second and third one? I'm sorry, just like what was it?
It was compassionate. I'm very patient while listening to others and always come up with something to give them a solution. And that's why people always looking for me for help or different
Yeah.
things like that.
Okay. And the third one was?
I just tell about these two strengths and
Oh,
nothing
just
the
these two.
third one.
Okay.
Yes.
I get in the third one, I would mention something about your working capabilities because these things, like they're very good strengths. It says a lot about you as a person, like the kind of person that you are. I would your third this thing, I would say something about like work, like like you have a strong work ethic or something like that, like something about how you would function as a resident. It should paint a
Yeah,
complete picture.
I got it. I had that like in my like mind, but I didn't like come up with it because I thought that it doesn't portray that like everyone is like efficient on the work. It doesn't like that because that's why I think that it's not a
Isha, I
thing that
think
is
the
like
second
personalized
point,
or.
I would say you can use a better term is that I am good at taking initiatives. So that's why my friends look up to me.
Okay.
Yes, Aisha, Anand is right, and even Lokesh is right. So, like talking about saying that you are good taking initiatives, that's an excellent point. Another point is like what Lokesh was saying was he was suggesting uh, mention a strength in your work environment, right? So when you say that people are comfortable in talking to you and in sharing things with you, it also tells me that you have good interpersonal skills. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Interpersonal skills,
Yes.
compassion. Yeah, both of them. That's a very strong point in your
Yeah. So when you say you can use interpersonal skills as a point to which can work well in both your personal and professional life. So you can elaborate on that as your third strength.
Okay, like interpersonal skills, the third point. Okay.
Yeah, you can say
Yeah.
something like, patients feel comfortable opening up to you, and I guess, yeah, something like that, I guess.
Okay.
Just a note that makes you a very good psychiatrist, huh, Aisha?
It's a tough field.
Yeah. Yes, but you can.
So are we done? I think we are 1.5 hour into the session, and I think we should now end it. Anybody wants to add something, or we should end it? And one more point is like the one weakness that I think about me is it just clicked my mind is my public speaking quality. My like I lack public speaking, so for that I started my Instagram page, and through that I used to give mentorship sessions one on one. But then I thought to improve that, and I started taking webinars, and then I used to take even the interview, this preparations we used to do, and I used to conduct the meetings with 100 people over there, and still I'm learning every day. So I can just frame something like that.
Kudos, Ayushman. Yes, perfect. I mean, so what you're saying is one of your weaknesses was fear of public speaking.
Yeah.
And the way you handled it was doing more and more of it so that you get rid of that phobia.
And I'm still working on it. I don't want to show that I've overcome that weakness, but I'm working on that.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, the very fact that you're doing these huge sessions, webinars, and all that stuff shows that you have gone beyond the mark. I mean, congratulations on that on the
That's
personal
why
front.
I'm conducting this, because I'm selfish. So I have, a selfish reason for that. That's why I do these webinars. It's actually, I want to, I want to be continuous with this interview preparation, right? Instead of just sitting at home and crying over things, I just want to be, do it regularly. So that's why I conduct these sessions, right?
Ah, see, you're honest now. No, I'm just joking. Thank you
I
so
am
much for
blunt and
coming.
honest. It's for me actually. Like it's a very hard for me to every day come and sit over here. But yeah,
Right.
but I do it for myself, and I hope it's
No,
helping other people as well in some or the other way.
yes, it does. I mean, all of us, whatever we do in life, a lot of times it is for ourselves only. It is not for someone else. But in the bargain, it does help a lot of people. So you are absolutely good there. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah. So like now I think we should end. And what are the questions? Like we covered 5 questions so far. One is tell me about yourself. The second one is why US healthcare system, why you wanted to be a doctor, and your weaknesses and strengths. Right. So, what should be the 2 questions for tomorrow?
Tell me 3 words in how your friends would describe your personality and how your mentors would and family would describe your personality.
Okay.
Let me rephrase it. How would your friends describe your personality in 3 words? How would your family describe your personality in 3 words? How would your mentors describe your personality in 3 words?
Words. Okay.
Just 3 words, no explanations.
Right. Okay. Yeah. One question is that I just post in the group. What would you contribute to the US healthcare system? Yes, that's another question. And any third question, like if we try to cover 3 questions tomorrow, because that's how we'll be covering maximum of questions by 17th to 18th October. Why should we?
After like these 2 questions are this thing answered, can we like maybe like spend like 10 minutes or something like coming back to the weaknesses? Because I think like we heard a lot about the strengths today and that's really good, but like weaknesses is where like things get tricky and like it it can be problematic. So I think like I feel like maybe we could spend a little bit more time on that.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you guys think?
And I have one more suggestion.
Yeah.
Do you remember towards the beginning of the session, we talked about a
Animal?
question like, what is your favorite animal? And I just want to know, how does it reflect your personality? What's the importance of this question, or what do you guys say?
So, okay, I'll just say I have an answer to that. Just give me a second. I'm just looking at the chat box. Yes, we can spend some time for the weakness. Yes. Hello, everyone. Can we get answers to all questions for those like us who came late? So I think somebody is going to record the session and post it on the YouTube. You can just watch because he's Dr. Surya is posting these sessions on the YouTube every day. So you can just go through our previous videos and yeah, just help. If it helps you, you can just watch them. Yeah. So Indu, for me, like I have thought about this question. Why to choose you in 100 students? Okay, so firstly tomorrow we'll talk about how your friends, your family, or your mentors would describe you in 3 words. And the second question we will talk about is what does this question reflect about? Okay, and the second question, can anybody repeat? It just skipped my mind.
How about why should we rank you?
Okay, that's even a good question.
I don't know.
You said that what would you contribute to US healthcare?
So like right now we'll stick to these 2 questions. Then Dr. Rajni, that's even a good question that we'll take club with another question on the 14th and 15th. We're not going to have a session because Vijay is going to have a session that 2 days. So I will be attending those sessions. They are by the radiology residents or somebody who have already matched. So I'll be doing that. And on 16th we'll be going on with this question: why we should rank you, or why you amongst 5,000 applicants or 200 applicants. And one more question. Okay. What is your YouTube channel? What is the YouTube channel? Yeah, he'll just post in the group about that. You can just go and see there. After this, I think Dr. Surya will do that. Hopefully, I think he's with us over here right now. Yeah. So into to that question, like what favorite animal you have? What's your favorite? Like what animal you would like to describe yourself, your personality with? So I just came up with the answer is that I can relate to a polar bear because firstly he's very cute and that's what everybody says that I'm cute. The second thing is that he adapts very well to situations. Like during the winter time, he goes for the hibernation, and when it's summers, he comes out, hunts, and so that's how I'll frame my answer to that. Like I have to discuss the polar bear and his personality traits, and then I'll relate his traits to me. Because I don't want to say I'm a lion or something because they're very aggressive. Okay, so I think we should just end the meeting right now. Indu will come up with that question as well, like why you want to be animal, or we can just discuss it tomorrow, some other day when we have time. Right? I think everybody is leaving. Right. So yeah, thank you so much everybody for joining, and we'll see you tomorrow at 9. Yeah, I will be there, and I'll just post the questions in the group, and then we'll even talk about the weaknesses like for the last. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much, Ayushman.
Have a good day and night ahead, depending on your time zones. Thank you.
Thank you.
That is
Thank you.
just YouTube. Thank you so much. Bye.